The great dragon Doyen lay still on his bed of gold and gems. His once bright scales had dulled to the color of old copper. His massive body, longer than 3 transport ships, barely moved with each shallow breath. Only the slow rise and fall of his chest showed he was alive at all. This cave, deep in the Skyreach Mountains of HFY, had been his home for over 100 years. The walls glittered with crystals that gave off a soft blue light. Piles of treasure, not just gold and jewels, but strange devices and ancient books filled the corners of the massive chamber. Doyen opened one eye. It glowed faintly yellow, like the last ember in a dying fire. So this is how it ends, he thought. The last dragon, dying alone on a human colony world. He had lived for over 4,000 years. He had seen empires rise and fall. He had flown between the stars when humans still thought their world was flat. And now, he was the last of his kind. The dragon shifted his weight, sending a small avalanche of gold coins tumbling down the pile. The sound echoed through the cave, a lonely noise that only reminded him how empty his life had become long ago. There had been hundreds of dragons. They had been the guardians of the stars, the keepers of ancient knowledge. But that was before the great darkness came, before the void hunters found them. One by one, his kind had fallen until only Doyen remained. He had hidden himself away on this remote colony world, far from the central planets where humans built their busy cities. Here in the mountains, few people ever came. Those who did see him usually mistook him for a strange rock formation or a trick of the light. Doyen closed his eye again. He was so tired. For the past 50 years, he had felt his strength fading. The fire in his belly, once hot enough to melt steel, now barely warmed his insides. His wings, which could once carry him beyond the atmosphere, had grown stiff and painful to move. It is time, he thought. I have lived long enough. Dragons did not fear death. They prepared for it, as Doyen had done. His treasures were arranged just so. The most precious items, the memory crystals, containing the history of his people, were placed closest to him. If humans ever found his body, perhaps they would discover these treasures and learn the truth about dragons. Outside the cave, a storm was brewing. Doyen could smell it in the air, the sharp scent of rain and the electric tang of lightning. The weather on HFY could turn dangerous quickly. The human settlers had learned this the hard way when they first arrived 30 years ago. Doyen remembered watching their ships land from his mountain perch. He had been curious about these new humans. They were different from the ones he had known in the past. They built their colony with strange new machines and talked about terraforming the planet to make it more like their home world. The dragon had kept his distance. Experience had taught him that humans were unpredictable. Some would worship a dragon. Others would try to kill it. Most would fear it. And fear made humans dangerous. A flash of lightning lit up the cave entrance, followed by a rumble of thunder that shook loose small stones from the ceiling. The storm was getting closer. Doyen's thoughts drifted to the past. He remembered flying through the rings of the gas giant Juno, racing with his clutch sister Sora. He remembered the ancient dragon city of Yolium, hidden in the clouds of a world now long destroyed. He remembered the faces of his kind, now all gone to dust. I am the last memory of my people. He thought, when I die, we will truly be gone. The thought should have made him sad. But Doyen had moved beyond sadness. He had lived too long, seen too much. Now he only felt a quiet acceptance. Rain began to fall outside. Heavy drops that quickly turned into a downpour. The sound was soothing to the old dragon. He had always liked the rain. It reminded him of the ocean world where he had hatched so many millennia ago. Doyen's breathing slowed even more. He could feel his heart, massive as it was, beginning to skip beats. The end was coming. Perhaps tonight, perhaps tomorrow. It didn't matter. Time meant little to a creature as old as he was. He had no regrets. He had lived a full life. He had seen wonders that no living being remembered. He had flown through nebulae and danced in the light of newborn stars. He had watched civilizations grow from stone tools to starships. The only sadness he felt was that no one would remember. No one would know the truth about dragons, that they had once helped humans reach the stars, that they had protected them from dangers they couldn't imagine. A particularly loud crash of thunder shook the mountain. Doyen didn't bother to open his eyes. Let the storm rage. Soon he would be beyond all storms. He thought he heard something, a sound different from the rain and thunder. It sounded like footsteps. Small, light footsteps. Do-Yin dismissed the thought. His mind was playing tricks on him. No human ever came to this part of the mountains, especially not during a storm. But there it was again, the unmistakable sound of someone entering his cave. Someone small. With great effort, Do-Yin opened one eye. At first, he saw nothing in the dim light of the crystal-studded walls. Then a movement caught his attention. A small figure stood at the entrance to his inner chamber. A human child, soaking wet from the rain, staring wide-eyed at the dragon and his treasure. The boy couldn't have been more than 10 years old. He wore the blue uniform of the colony school, now muddy and torn. His black hair was plastered to his head by the rain, and he clutched a small device in one hand, some kind of communicator. Perhaps, for a long moment, dragon and boy stared at each other. Do-Yin waited for the screaming to start, for the child to turn and run in terror. But the boy didn't run. Instead, he took a step forward, then another. His eyes were wide with wonder, not fear. "Are you real?" the boy whispered, his voice barely audible over the storm outside. Do-Yin didn't answer. He hadn't spoken to a human in over 300 years. He wasn't sure he remembered how. The boy came closer, stepping carefully over piles of gold coins and around ancient artifacts. He showed no interest in the treasures. His eyes were fixed on Do-Yin. "I'm Taijun," the boy said. "I got lost from my class. We were studying mountain geology." He gestured to the communicator in his hand. "My comm doesn't work in the storm." Do-Yin remained still. Perhaps if he didn't move, the boy would think he was just a statue, a strange rock formation. Then he would leave, and Do-Yin could return to his dying. But Taijun came even closer. He was now standing right next to Do-Yin's massive head, which rested on a pile of golden artifacts. "You're a dragon," the boy said, not a question but a statement of fact. "I thought dragons weren't real." And then, before Do-Yin could react, the boy did something unexpected. He reached out his small hand and placed it on Do-Yin's snout, right between his nostrils. The touch was like an electric shock. Do-Yin felt something surge through his body, a warmth he hadn't felt in centuries. His heart, which had been faltering, suddenly beat stronger. The fire in his belly, nearly extinguished, flared to life. The dragon's eye widened in shock. This wasn't possible. And yet, he could feel it happening. The boy's touch was somehow reviving him, awakening parts of him that had been shutting down. For the first time in 100 years, Do-Yin moved his head. He lifted it slightly, causing the boy to step back in surprise. "You're alive." Taijun gasped, his face lighting up with excitement rather than fear, and Do-Yin realized, with a mixture of confusion and wonder, that the boy was right. He was alive, and somehow, against all odds, he wasn't ready to die after all. Taijun stood frozen, his hands still outstretched. The dragon's eye, now fully open, glowed like a small sun in the dim cave. The boy's heart raced, but not from fear. This was the most amazing thing he had ever seen. "You moved," Taijun whispered. "You're really alive." Do-Yin studied the small human before him. The boy showed no fear, only wonder. It had been so long since anyone had looked at him that way. Most humans who had glimpsed him over the centuries had run screaming or tried to attack him. With great effort, Do-Yin lifted his massive head higher. Gold coins tumbled down the pile as he moved. His neck creaked like old metal, stiff from years of stillness. "Yes," the dragon said, his voice a deep rumble that shook dust from the cave ceiling. "I am alive, though barely." Taijun's eyes grew even wider. "You can talk." "I can do many things, young human," Do-Yin replied. "Or at least, I once could." The storm outside grew louder, rain pounding against the mountain. A flash of lightning lit up the cave entrance, followed by a crash of thunder that made Taijun jump. "Are you lost, boy?" Do-Yin asked, though he already knew the answer. Taijun nodded. "My class was studying the mountains. I saw something shiny and followed it. Then the storm came, and I couldn't find my way back." He held up his communicator. "This doesn't work here. The crystals in these mountains block your signals," Do-Yin explained. "They have properties your scientists haven't discovered yet." The boy looked around the cave with new interest, noticing the glowing blue crystals embedded in the walls. Is that why they glow? Partly, Doyen said. He was surprised at how easy it was to talk to this child. Words he hadn't used in centuries came back to him naturally. Taijun walked closer to the dragon again, seemingly unafraid. What's your name? I am Doyen, the dragon replied. Last of the star dragons. I'm Taijun Kim. I'm 10 years old. The boy looked at the dragon with open curiosity. How old are you? Doyen made a sound that might have been a laugh. Older than your colony. Older than your homeworld's space program. I have seen for 1,000 years pass, young Taijun. The boy's mouth fell open. 4,000? That's really old. Indeed. Doyen shifted his weight, feeling strength returning to his limbs. The touch of the boy's hand had done something to him, awakened something long dormant. He didn't understand it, but he could feel his body changing, healing. Why are you here all alone? Taijun asked, sitting down on a flat rock near the dragon's head. Doyen considered how to answer. The full story was too complex, too dark for a child. My kind is gone, he said simply. I am the last dragon. That's sad, Taijun said, his face showing genuine concern. Don't you get lonely? The question caught Doyen by surprise. Had he been lonely? Yes, he realized. For centuries, he had been desperately lonely. Yes, he admitted. But I had accepted my fate. Until you came. What do you mean? Taijun asked. Doyen lowered his head to look the boy directly in the eyes. I was dying, young one. My time was ending. But when you touched me, something changed. Taijun looked at his own hand in wonder. I did that. How? I don't know, Doyen said truthfully. There's an old legend among my kind. It speaks of a connection between dragons and humans, a bond that was lost long ago. Perhaps there is truth to it after all. The boy reached out again, slowly, and placed his hand on Doyen's snout. The dragon felt the same surge of energy, like warm sunlight flowing through his veins. I can feel it, Taijun whispered. It's like electricity, but warm. Doyen closed his eyes, focusing on the sensation. Yes, there was something there, a connection he had never felt before. It was as if the boy's life force was somehow compatible with his own, strengthening him. This is very strange, Doyen said. In all my years, I have never experienced this. Outside, the storm began to ease. The thunder grew more distant, the rain lighter. Soon, people would be looking for the missing boy. Your people will be searching for you, Doyen said. They will be worried. Taijun nodded, but didn't move to leave. Will you be here tomorrow? Can I come back? The question made Doyen pause. He had planned to die, to let his long life finally end. But now, he felt different. The fire inside him burned brighter. His heart beat stronger. Yes, he said, surprising himself. I will be here. Taijun smiled, a bright, happy smile that seemed to light up the cave more than the glowing crystals. I'll bring my notebook next time. And maybe some food. Do you eat food? I have not eaten in 50 years, Doyen admitted. But yes, dragons do eat. What do you like? Meat, fish? Both, Doyen said, amused by the boy's enthusiasm. Though I doubt you could carry enough to satisfy me. Taijun laughed. Maybe not. But I can bring something small. The rain had stopped completely now. Sunlight began to filter into the cave entrance. You should go, Doyen said. Follow the path down the mountain. When you reach the large boulder shaped like a turtle, turn left. That will take you back to the trail your class was on. Taijun stood up, brushing dust from his pants. How do you know about the Turtle Rock? I have watched this mountain for 200 years, Doyen replied. I know every rock, every tree, every path. The boy nodded, then hesitated. Will you tell me about the star dragons tomorrow? And why you're the last one? Doyen considered the request. The story was long and painful, but perhaps it was time to share it, to ensure that when he did finally pass, the memory of his kind would not die with him. Yes, he promised. I will tell you our story. Taijun grinned and started toward the cave entrance. Then he stopped and turned back. Thank you for letting me stay during the storm. Thank you, Doyen replied, for waking me up. After the boy left, Doyen remained still, thinking about what had happened. He had been ready to die, prepared for the end. Now, he felt a new purpose stirring within him, for the first time in centuries. Doyen spread his massive wings, stretching them across the cave. They ached from disuse, but the pain felt good, like waking up after a long sleep. The last dragon was not ready to die after all, and it was all because of a human boy's hand. Doyen settled back onto his treasure pile, but differently this time. He arranged himself not for death, but for rest. Tomorrow, the boy would return, and Doyen would be waiting. The next morning, Taijun woke up earlier than usual. He packed his backpack carefully, his notebook, some pens, his tablet for taking pictures, and a lunch twice as big as normal. His mother, Jiwoo, raised an eyebrow when she saw him packing so much food. Hungry today? She asked as she prepared breakfast in their small kitchen. Just want to be prepared, Taijun said, trying to sound casual. We're going on another field trip. This wasn't exactly true. His class wasn't going anywhere today. But Taijun had already decided he would sneak away to visit Doyen again. He felt bad about lying to his mother, but how could he tell her he had found a real dragon? Jiwoo placed a bowl of rice and eggs in front of him. You gave us quite a scare yesterday, getting separated from your group. I'm sorry, Taijun said, and he meant it. When he had finally made it back to the colony yesterday, his teacher and the search team had been very worried. He had told them he found a cave to wait out the storm, which was true. He just didn't mention what else was in that cave. Just be more careful today, his mother said, ruffling his hair. Stay with your group. Taijun nodded and quickly ate his breakfast. His mother was a xenobiologist. She studied alien life forms on HFY. She was always busy with her research, especially now that the colony was expanding into new areas of the planet. Mom, Taijun said suddenly, have you ever heard stories about dragons on this planet? Jiwoo looked up from her coffee. Dragons? No, nothing like that in our surveys. Why do you ask? Just curious, Taijun said. We were talking about Earth myths yesterday, and I wondered if other planets had similar stories. His mother smiled. Well, many planets have legends about large flying creatures. It's an interesting pattern in mythology, but no confirmed dragon sightings on HFY. I'm afraid. If only you knew, Taijun thought. After breakfast, Taijun said goodbye to his mother and headed to school. But instead of going to his classroom, he slipped away toward the mountain path as soon as he was out of sight of the colony buildings. The morning was clear and bright, with no sign of yesterday's storm. Taijun followed the same path he had taken with his class, then found the turtle-shaped rock Doyen had mentioned. From there, he turned and made his way up to the dragon's cave. When he arrived, he found Doyen awake and waiting. The dragon looked different today. His scales seemed brighter, more like bronze than dull copper. His eyes glowed stronger, and he held his head higher. You came back, Doyen said. Sounding pleased, I promised I would, Taijun replied, dropping his backpack and sitting on the same flat rock as yesterday. You look better today. I feel better, the dragon admitted. Whatever happened when you touched me continues to work. My strength is returning. Taijun grinned. That's good. I brought food. He pulled out his lunch containers and opened them. It's not much, just some rice, fish, and vegetables. Doyen lowered his massive head to sniff the offering. It has been a long time since I tasted human food. Thank you. The dragon delicately picked up the containers with the tip of his claw and tipped the contents into his mouth. To Taijun, it looked like Doyen was eating a single grain of rice. The portion was so small compared to his size. You said you would tell me about the star dragons. Taijun reminded him. Pulling out his notebook, Doyen settled himself more comfortably. Yes, I did promise that. It is a long story, spanning thousands of years. I want to hear all of it, Taijun said eagerly. The dragon's eyes seemed to look far away. Long ago, before humans had even left their first planet, my kind traveled between the stars. We were not born on Earth, or any world humans know. We came from a planet called Yolium, orbiting a star you call Antares. Taijun quickly wrote this down. That's really far from Earth. Yes, we had technology far beyond what even your people have now. We could fold space, moving vast distances in moments. We explored thousands of worlds, including Earth? Taijun asked. Doyen nodded his massive head. Yes, we found Earth when humans were still living in caves. We watched your kind grow and develop. Some of my people even revealed themselves to humans, which is why dragon stories exist in so many Earth cultures. Did dragons help humans? Taijun asked, writing frantically. Sometimes. We had rules about not interfering too much. But yes, we shared some knowledge. The ancient civilizations of Earth, the ones that built great structures and developed early science, they had help from dragons. Taijun looked up from his notebook. Is that why there are dragon stories in China, Europe, and other places? Exactly, Douyin said. Different dragons chose different regions to visit. We each had our favorites. What happened to all the other dragons? Taijun asked, though he was a little afraid to hear the answer. Douyin's eyes darkened. We encountered an enemy, a species that feared us, called the Void Hunters. They believed we were too powerful, that we should not exist. They hunted us across the stars. They killed the dragons. Taijun whispered. Many, Douyin said sadly. There was a great war. Stars died. Worlds were lost. In the end, we were few and scattered. I have not seen another of my kind in over 1,000 years. Taijun felt tears in his eyes. That's terrible. It is the way of the universe, Douyin said. All things end. Even dragons. But you're still here, Taijun pointed out. And you're getting stronger because of me, somehow. Douyin's eyes focused on the boy. Yes, and that is the greatest mystery. There was an old legend among my kind. It said that dragons and humans shared a connection, that our life forces were somehow compatible. Few believed it. But now, I wonder, the dragon stretched out one claw. Touch me again, Taijun. Let us see what happens. Taijun stood and placed both hands on Douyin's claw. Immediately, he felt the strange warm energy flowing between them. But this time, he noticed something else, images flashing in his mind. Stars, planets, strange cities built of crystal, and creatures that must be other dragons. Flying through space without ships, I can see things. Taijun gasped. I can see your memories. Douyin pulled back, surprised. You saw my thoughts? That is not possible, unless what? Taijun asked. Unless the legend is true, Douyin said quietly. That humans and dragons can form a bond, a connection of minds and life force. Taijun's eyes widened. Like in stories where dragons and humans become partners. Perhaps, Douyin said. Though in the old tales, it was never a full-grown dragon that bonded, but a hatchling. For an ancient one like me to form such a connection is unheard of. Taijun couldn't contain his excitement. This is amazing. Wait until I tell my mom. Douyin's head snapped up. No. You must not tell anyone about me. Not yet. Why not? Taijun asked, confused. My mom's a scientist. She studies alien life. She'd be thrilled to meet you. Humans fear what they don't understand, Douyin said. If your colony learns of me, they might see me as a threat. They might try to capture me, or worse. Taijun frowned. They wouldn't hurt you. We're not like that. Perhaps not all of you, Douyin conceded. But I have lived long enough to be cautious. Give me time, Taijun. Let our connection grow stronger. Then, perhaps, we can reveal my existence to others. The boy looked disappointed but nodded. Okay, it can be our secret for now. Thank you, Douyin said. Now, let me show you something. The dragon moved aside some of his treasure, revealing a small crystal sphere. It glowed with an inner blue light. This is a memory crystal, Douyin explained. It contains the history and knowledge of my people. Touch it. Hesitantly, Taijun reached out and placed his finger on the sphere. Instantly, his mind filled with images, star maps, scientific formulas. The history of a species that had traveled the cosmos for millions of years. Wow, he breathed. There's so much information. Yes, Douyin said. Knowledge that could help your colony, if used wisely. This is why I must be careful about revealing myself. This knowledge in the wrong hands could be dangerous. Taijun pulled his hand away from the crystal, his mind spinning with all he had seen. I understand. I won't tell anyone yet. Douyin nodded, pleased. You are wise for one so young. Now, you should return to your colony before you are missed. Can I come back tomorrow? Taijun asked. I would like that, Douyin said. Bring more food if you can. I find my appetite returning. Taijun packed up his things, promising to return the next day. As he left the cave, he looked back at the ancient dragon. Douyin was watching him, with those glowing yellow eyes, looking more alive than he had yesterday. The boy hurried down the mountain, his mind full of dragons and stars and ancient wars. He had promised not to tell anyone about Doyen, but he wondered how long he could keep such an amazing secret. What he didn't know was that someone had seen him enter the cave, and they were very curious about what might be inside. For the next week, Taijun visited Doyen every day after school. Each time, he brought more food, whatever he could sneak from home without his mother noticing. The dragon grew stronger with each visit. His scales now shone like polished bronze, and his movements became more fluid and powerful. On this day, Taijun arrived at the cave out of breath. He had run all the way from school, excited to share his news. Doyen, I got the highest score on my science test, he called as he entered the cave. The dragon was waiting for him, his massive head resting on his front claws. Well done, young one. Your understanding of the stars helped, I imagine. Taijun grinned. Over the past week, Doyen had taught him about space and planets in ways his school books never could. The dragon had actually been to many of the places Taijun only read about. I drew a map of the Antares system perfectly, Taijun said proudly. My teacher was surprised I knew so much about it. Did you tell her where you learned it? Doyen asked, a note of concern in his deep voice. No, I just said I read about it. Taijun assured him. I've kept our secret. The dragon nodded, satisfied. Good. Now, I have something to show you today. Doyen rose to his full height, his head nearly touching the high ceiling of the cave. Taijun still found it amazing how big the dragon was, at least 30 meters from nose to tail tip. Follow me, Doyen said, moving deeper into the cave. Taijun had never gone beyond the main chamber where Doyen kept his treasure. He followed eagerly as the dragon led him through a narrow passage that opened into a second, smaller cave. This room was different. Instead of gold and jewels, it contained strange objects that looked like technology, but unlike anything Taijun had seen before. Metal spheres floated in the air without support. Crystal panels glowed with shifting patterns of light. In the center stood what looked like a chair, but sized for a creature much larger than a human. What is all this? Taijun asked in wonder. My ship, Doyen said simply. Or what remains of it, your spaceship. Taijun's eyes widened. You came to HFY in a spaceship? Of course. Even dragons cannot breathe in space, Doyen said with a sound that might have been a chuckle. This was once a great vessel that could travel between stars in moments. Now it is broken, most of its parts used to sustain me over the centuries. Taijun walked around the room, careful not to touch anything. Can it still fly? No, Doyen said, but some of its systems still work, including this. The dragon touched one claw to a crystal panel. It lit up brightly, and suddenly the air in the center of the room filled with a three-dimensional image of space stars, planets, and swirling nebulae. This is a map of this part of the galaxy, Doyen explained. See here, this is your colony world, HFY. Taijun stared in amazement as the image zoomed in to show their planet, then the continent where the colony was built, and finally the mountain range where they now stood. And this, Doyen continued, touching another panel, is something troubling. The image changed to show deep space. A small object was moving, heading in their direction. What is that? Taijun asked. A scout ship, Doyen said grimly. Belonging to the Void Hunters. Taijun felt a chill. The ones who hunted the dragons? They're coming here? Yes, my awakening has not gone unnoticed. When you helped revive me, my energy signature became detectable again. They have sensed it and sent a scout to investigate. What will they do if they find you? Taijun asked, though he feared he knew the answer. They will try to kill me, Doyen said, and they will not care if humans get in their way. Taijun's heart raced. We have to warn the colony. We have to tell them. Yes, Doyen agreed, surprising Taijun. The time for hiding is over. Your people need to know what's coming. You'll help us. Taijun asked. I will, Doyen said. You have given me new life, young Taijun. Now I have a new purpose to protect your colony from a danger I have brought upon it. Taijun felt both scared and excited. We should tell my mother first. She'll believe me, and she knows the colony leaders. Doyen nodded his massive head. A wise choice. When can you bring her here? Tomorrow is rest day, Taijun said. She doesn't work. I can bring her then. Good. The scout ship is still far away. It will not arrive for at least 2 weeks. We have time to prepare. As they walked back to the main cave, Taijun had a thought. Doyen, if the void hunters can detect you, does that mean there might be other dragons out there that you could detect too? The dragon stopped walking. I had not considered that. For so long, I believed I was the last. Maybe you're not, Taijun said hopefully. Maybe others are hiding, like you were. Perhaps, Doyen said, a new light in his eyes. It is a comforting thought. When Taijun left the cave that day, his mind was spinning with everything he had learned. He was so distracted that he didn't notice the person following him, until a hand grabbed his shoulder. He jumped and turned around to find himself face to face with his mother. Mom, he gasped. What are you doing here? Jiwoo's face was stern. I think that's my question, Taijun. Your teacher called me. You've been skipping classes all week. I followed you today to find out where you've been going. Taijun's heart sank. I can explain. You'd better, his mother said. What's in that cave? What have you been doing up here? Taijun took a deep breath. Mom, you won't believe me unless I show you. Can you come with me tomorrow, please? Jiwoo studied her son's face. This is important to you, isn't it? It's the most important thing ever, Taijun said seriously. It's about the colony's safety. His mother's expression changed from anger to concern. The colony's safety? Taijun, what have you gotten involved in? Nothing bad, I promise, Taijun said quickly. Just something amazing. Something that will change everything we know about space and other species. Jiwoo was a scientist at heart. The mention of a new species caught her interest immediately. Fine, tomorrow morning, you'll take me to this cave, and you'll explain everything. I will, Taijun promised. But Mom, you have to come with an open mind. What I'm going to show you, it's not like anything you've studied before. As they walked back to the colony together, Taijun wondered how his mother would react to meeting Doyen. Would she be afraid, excited? Would she believe that dragons were real? And more importantly, would she help convince the colony leaders that a threat was coming from space? A threat only Doyen might be able to help them fight. That night, Taijun could hardly sleep. Tomorrow would change everything. The secret of the ancient dragon would be a secret no longer in his cave. Doyen also prepared for the meeting. He polished his scales and arranged his treasure to look less threatening. For the first time in centuries, he would reveal himself to an adult human. He felt nervous, but also hopeful. The boy had given him a new purpose. Now, instead of preparing to die, Doyen was preparing to fight to protect the colony that had unknowingly given him shelter, and the boy who had saved his life with a simple touch. The last dragon was ready to return to the world. Morning came with a golden sunrise over the mountains of HFY. Taijun woke early, too excited and nervous to sleep. Today was the day his mother would meet Doyen. Everything would change. Jiwoo was already in the kitchen when Taijun came out of his room. She wore her field research clothes and had packed her scientific equipment. I'm ready to see this amazing discovery of yours, she said, trying to sound casual. But Taijun could see the curiosity in her eyes. You didn't tell anyone else, did you? Taijun asked anxiously. No, though I probably should have, his mother replied. If this is as important as you claim, the colony leaders will need to know. They will. Taijun agreed. But first, just you. They ate breakfast quickly, then set off toward the mountains. The path was familiar to Taijun now after a week of daily visits. As they climbed higher, Jiwoo asked questions about what they would find. But Taijun only smiled and said, You'll see, when they reach the cave entrance. Taijun stopped. Mom, before we go in, I need you to promise something. Jiwoo raised an eyebrow. What? Promise you won't be afraid, and that you'll listen before you do anything. His mother looked concerned. Taijun, what exactly is in there? The most amazing being in the universe, Taijun said simply. And he's my friend. Before Jiwoo could ask more questions, Taijun took her hand and led her into the cave. They walked through the narrow entrance passage, which opened into the large main chamber. Doyen was waiting for them. He had arranged himself regally on his treasure pile, his scales polished to a high shine. In the light of the glowing crystals, he looked magnificent, ancient, and powerful, but no longer dying. Jiwoo froze at the sight of him. Her scientific equipment fell from her hands, clattering on the stone floor. "Mom," Taijun said quietly, "this is Doyen. He's a star dragon." For a long moment, Jiwoo didn't move or speak. She stared at the dragon with wide eyes, her face pale. Then Doyen spoke, his deep voice gentle. "Greetings, Dr. Kim. Your son has told me much about you." Jiwoo took a step back. "It talks," she whispered. "He talks," Taijun corrected. "And he knows more about space and science than anyone on our planet." Slowly, Jiwoo's scientific training overcame her shock. She took a tentative step forward. "This is impossible. Dragons are myths. Many things thought to be myths have roots in truth." Doyen said, "My kind visited Earth long ago. Your ancestors remembered us in their stories." Jiwoo looked at Taijun. "You've been coming here every day. This is where you've been." Taijun nodded. "Doyen was dying when I found him. But when I touched him, something happened. We have a connection. It made him stronger. A biological connection between species." Jiwoo's scientific curiosity was fully awakened now. "That's fascinating. May I take some readings?" "You may," Doyen said, lowering his head to her level. "But first, we must discuss the danger approaching your colony over the next hour." Doyen explained everything to Jiwoo about the star dragons, their history, the Void Hunters, and the scout ship now heading toward Hessen 3. Taijun watched his mother's face change from disbelief to wonder to concern. "If what you're saying is true," Jiwoo said when Doyen finished, "our colony has no defenses against such an advanced enemy." "Not yet," Doyen agreed. "But I can help you prepare." "How?" Jiwoo asked. Doyen rose to his full height. "Come, I will show you." He led them to the second cave, where the remains of his ship stood. Jiwoo gasped at the sight of the advanced technology. "This is incredible," she breathed, examining the floating metal spheres and glowing panels. "This technology is far beyond anything humans have developed, and it can be adapted to protect your colony," Doyen said. "But I will need help. I cannot do it alone." Jiwoo nodded decisively. "I'll speak to colony leader Minjae today. He needs to see this." "Will he believe you?" Taijun asked. "I'll make him believe me," his mother said with determination. "This is too important to ignore." 3 days later, the cave was filled with people. Colony leader Minjae, a tall man with a serious face, stood with his security team and top scientists. They all stared at Doyen with a mixture of fear and awe. "So it's true," Minjae said. "A real dragon." "Yes," Jiwoo said. "And he's warning us about a real threat." Minjae frowned. "Even if I believe this story about alien hunters, and I'm not saying I do, how can we possibly defend ourselves? We're a small colony with limited weapons." "Not with weapons," Doyen said. With this, he touched a panel on his ship's console. A holographic image appeared, showing a complex device. "This is a shield generator," Doyen explained. "It can protect your entire colony from attack. But to build it, we will need materials from your settlement and help from your engineers." "And why should we trust you?" Minjae asked bluntly. "For all we know, you could be the threat. If I wished to harm you, I could have done so long ago." Doyen replied calmly. "I have lived on this mountain for 200 years, watching your colony grow. I seek only to protect it now and the boy who saved my life." Taijun stepped forward. "Please, Leader Minjae. Doyen is my friend. He wants to help us." Minjae looked at the boy, then back at the dragon. Finally, he nodded. "Very well. We'll build your shield, but we'll be watching you." Over the next week, the colony buzzed with activity. Engineers and scientists worked with Doyen to build the shield generator using parts from his ship and materials from the colony. Many people came to see the dragon, their fear gradually turning to wonder as they worked alongside him. Taijun spent every day at the cave, helping where he could and watching the amazing cooperation between his people and the ancient dragon. His connection with Doyen grew stronger each day. He could now sense the dragon's thoughts without touching him, and Doyen could sense his. 10 days after Jiwoo's first visit to the cave, the shield generator was complete. It stood in the center of the colony, a tall tower of metal and crystal that hummed with power. "It's ready," Doyen announced. "Now we must wait." They didn't wait long. That night, The colony's sensors detected an object entering the planet's atmosphere, the Void Hunter scout ship. "It's happening," Taijun said, standing beside Doyen on the mountain overlooking the colony. "They're here." The scout ship was small but deadly looking, with sharp angles and dark metal that seemed to absorb light. It hovered over the colony, scanning. "They've detected me," Doyen said grimly. "They will attack soon." "What do we do?" Taijun asked, fear in his voice. "We fight," Doyen replied. Together, the dragon lowered his head. "Climb on my back." Taijun. "What?" The boy was surprised. "You want me to ride you? Our connection makes us stronger together," Doyen explained. "I need you with me for what comes next." Hesitantly, Taijun climbed onto Doyen's back, settling between two large scales. As soon as he was seated, he felt a surge of energy between them, stronger than ever before. "Hold tight," Doyen warned. Then he spread his massive wings and leaped into the air. For the first time in centuries, the last star dragon flew. His bronze scales gleamed in the moonlight as he soared toward the Void Hunter ship. With a human boy on his back below them, the shield generator activated, covering the colony in a dome of shimmering energy. Just in time, the scout ship fired its weapons, but the blasts dissipated against the shield. "It's working," Taijun shouted. "Now for the ship," Doyen said. He opened his mouth, and a jet of blue flame shot out, striking the scout ship's hull. The ship turned, focusing its weapons on Doyen. But the dragon was too quick, dodging the energy blasts with graceful movements that belied his size. Taijun felt Doyen's thoughts in his mind. Together, they anticipated the ship's attacks, moving as one being. The boy's human intuition combined with the dragon's ancient knowledge made them a formidable team. With another blast of flame, Doyen damaged the ship's engines. It began to fall, crashing into the uninhabited mountains far from the colony. "We did it," Taijun cried as Doyen landed back on the mountain. "This battle," "Yes," Doyen said. "But the Void Hunters will send more ships when this one doesn't return. Then we'll be ready," Taijun said confidently. Together, Doyen looked at the boy on his back, then at the colony below. Its people emerging from their homes to stare up at the dragon who had protected them. "Yes," Doyen agreed. Together, the ancient dragon who had prepared to die had found a new purpose as guardian of a human colony, with a human boy as his partner. And somewhere out in the stars, perhaps other dragons waited, hiding as Doyen had been, ready to be awakened by the touch of a human hand. The last dragon was the last no more. He was the first of something new, a guardian of the stars, a bridge between two species, and a friend to a boy who wasn't afraid to reach out and touch a creature of legend. As dawn broke over Hesem 3, Doyen spread his wings again, with Taijun on his back, and soared into the sky. Their adventure was just beginning.